So who is invented this theory? So those things will be we are discussed. So he is invented by means of Hans Christian. So he is a Danish scientist. So he is invented the theories of electromagnetism. So at the same time we discuss about how the nature will be there whenever it will be one current carrying conductor is act as a magnet. So that thing also we are discussed in the last session. So then after we discuss about Coulomb's law of magnetism. So in case of Coulomb's law of magnetism, so we are taking the two charges, that is the M1 and M2, that is we are called as the pole. So according to Coulomb's law, he has invented the two theories. So one is, first expression, the like poles are repulsed to each other and unlike poles are attracted to each other. So that is the primary invention. So second one, the force between two magnetic poles is directly proportional to the product of their pole strength and inversely proportional to the square of the distance between them. So here there are two poles we are placed, that is the M1 and M2. So the distance between M1 and M2 is the D. So according to his statement, so from we are considering the second one, so it is directly proportional to the product. So there is a M1 and M2 and inversely proportional to D square. Right?
जब तक ये होमवर्क नहीं करता है किधर का स्क्रीन कार्ड लिया
So it is directly proportional to M1 M2 by D square.
उधर है ना?
So we are removing the proportionality. So then we are getting the equation as F is equal to K into M1 M2 by D square. So where K is the constant, the value of K is the 1 by 4 pi mu naught into mu r. So mu naught we are called as the absolute permeability and mu r we are called as a relative permeability. So these are the definitions we are discussed laterally. So that is the absolute and relative permeability. So permeability is nothing but the ability of a material to conduct magnetic flux through it we are called as a permeability. Simply we can define as which material is able to allow the magnetic flux through it, that is will be we are called as a permeability. That materials we are called as a electromagnet or magnets we are called that. Next, absolute permeability is nothing but it is a ratio. It is a ratio of magnetic flux to the magnetic strength. Density to the strength we are taking the ratio. So that is we are called as an absolute permeability, that is denoted by means of mu naught. Permeability is denoted by mu. Absolute permeability indicate or represented with mu naught. So similarly, relative permeability. So the ratio of permeability of material to the permeability of free space. So mu naught it is for the free space. That is we are given as a relative permeability, that is mu r is equal to mu by mu naught. So the unit is generally Henry. It for the permeability, or relative permeability, the units are represented as a Henry per meter area. Next, the last section we discuss about what is the magnetic field and magnetic lines of force. Magnetic field is nothing but the space in which a magnetic pole experiences a force is we are called as a magnetic field. So we are taking a bar magnet or we are placing a charge around a static field will be created. Up to certain ranges only they able to attract the metals or whatever it may be, the charges is there. So up to that range, that is will be we are called as a field. After the circumstances of that field, so there is no possibility of attracting the charges as well as the in terms of magnetism, it is not possible to attract the metals. So that is the concept we are considering for the electric field. This is we are applying for the magnetic field. So the space or the region around a magnet where its pole exhibits a force of attraction or repulsion we are called as a magnetic field. The next magnetic lines of force. So it is an imaginary line we can draw in the path traced by a unit north pole move of if free to do so. So here we are placing a bar magnet having the north and south pole. We are taking a compass. We are moving the compass from north pole to the south pole. A tracing line will be created. So if you are join all the dotted points, so a line will, a path or a line we are getting. So which direction is they getting is here? From north pole to south pole, the direction we are getting. So because of that reason, we are assuming always the flux lines are flowing from north pole to the south pole. So these are the imaginary lines. So we cannot hear, so we cannot touch, we cannot experience the lines. So just it is the imaginary line practically exists in a circuit or a network. So that is the concept we have called as the magnetic lines of force. So most of the cases may be asked the draw the magnetic lines of force for a bar magnet or for a given magnet, whatever it may be given. Just we are taking the imaginary as a north and south pole. The lines are moving from north pole to the south pole. So there are some specifications is there, or some of the properties are there for magnetic lines of force. So those are the 8 things which we have discussed in the last class. So those are 8 is the first one, always the line is starting from north pole and at south pole. So it is a continuous path. It is a closed path. It will be. That is the second one. Third one, they never intersect each other. Always they are in a parallel manner. So infinity lines is present. Always the infinity line is placed in parallel within a given narrow place also. So they never intersect to each other. So that is another point. Next, they behave like elastic bands and tend to shorten themselves. So if for example any external magnet will be affecting on that, they are able to enlarge as well as quenching. Means extend can be possible, reduction also can be possible. So that is one of the property of the magnetic lines of force. Next, fifth one, they are imaginary lines of force. So we cannot, we are imagining. So practically they are present, but we cannot visible, we cannot hear, we cannot feel the experiences. So that is also one of the points we can adapt. That is for the 8th point. Next, sixth one, they repulse to each other when they are parallel and or in the same direction. So always they are repulsed to each other from north pole to south pole. So that whatever the number of parallel lines they are drawn, they repulse to each other. Because of that reason, always they are stable in a particular path. So number of times how many lines we can draw, the same positions we are getting. So means the distance between each line is unique as well as equal. So that is the concept we are followed for the imaginary lines. So they remain unaffected by non-magnetic material. If there is only magnetic material is there present or closer to that, then only the lines will be affected. So up to that, there is no effect will be performed by means of magnetic force of lines. So these are the concepts we have discussed in the last class. So today we discussed about some of the definitions we can expect for the 1 mark question. So most of the cases in the third chapter, 1 mark questions will be more as compared with the other chapters. So first we see the what is field intensity, magnetic potential, flux and flux density. So these are the important concepts will be helpful for further studies also. So first we think about the magnetic field intensity. The word itself says that intensity, or it is also we are called as a force. So how is the intensity is larger, the force experienced by means of the lines also greater. So that concept we should remember. So according to the definition, field intensity at any point in a magnetic field is the force acting on a unit north pole placed at that point. So here we are taking a pole, so that is we are placed with a distance of d meters. So we are working, or a force is acting to moving from point P to M or M to P. So that will be given as the force exists. Right. So here we are taking a point P with a distance of d meters in the air from a pole of m Webers. Imagine a unit n pole placed at the point P, that is we are assuming. Then according to Coulomb's law, the force acting on a unit pole placed at P is given by, so in case of Coulomb's law we are taking the two poles M1 and M2. So according to that, so here also we are taking only one pole. So that is a M only. According to Coulomb's law, so there are two things will be we are selecting. That is the M1 and M2 is placing at a distance of D. So from the same concept, here also we are applying. But there is only one pole will be we are selecting. So if there is a one pole is selecting at the point P, so what is the work done according to Ohm's law? According to Coulomb's law, F is directly proportional to the formula is the M1 M2 by D square. This is the formula we are using. But here only the M1 will be we are selecting. Instead of M1 we can write as a M. Instead of M2, if there is nothing, just we are assuming as a 1 only. If there is nothing, actually the force exists between two poles only. It may be same poles or the different poles. But in a free space we are assuming only one pole. That is the M we are assuming at point P. It is doing a work from moving from P position to the M or M to the P. Whatever it may be, the force is acting. It may be in the forward direction or it may be in the reverse direction. So a force is existing. So already we know that, so the force existing between the two atoms or the poles is given as a F is directly proportional to M1 M2 by D square. So here only one pole is present. The second pole is not present. So because of that reason, only one pole is there. That is we are assuming as a M1 and another pole is there. That is the M2. So if M2 is not present, just we are assuming as a 1. M1 we are assuming as a M. So that is the assumptions we are made here. So substitute the values in the equation. F is equal to M1 M2 by 4 pi mu naught mu r into d square. This is a basic formula we can obtain for the force according to the Coulomb's law. So just we are substituting, instead of M1 we are substituting as a M, instead of M2 we are substituting as a 1. So then we are getting the value as F is equal to M into 1 by 4 pi mu into d square. So already we know that K value is a 1 by 4 pi mu naught into mu r. Already know one concept, mu is equal to mu naught into mu r. This is the equations we can obtain internally. So then that's next step. So F is equal to M into 1 by 4 pi. Instead of mu we are substituting the value as mu naught into mu r into d square. So always the mu r is the 1 for air. It is given as a air, so mu r value we are considering as a 1. Other than the air, so that the value is given in the problem. So but in case, just we are assuming the medium is the air. So mr, instead of mr we can substitute the value as 1. So then we are getting the force is equal to m into 1 is by m by 4 pi mu naught into d square. So by definition, the force on unit pole is field of strength at P. So that implies m by 4 pi mu naught into d square. So whatever the force is existing here, that is will be we are called as an intensity. So what is the force is acting to move one north pole from one location to the another location. So that is will be get determined by means of the formula. So that is we are called as a field intensity. Simply you can remember field intensity at any point in a magnetic field is the force acting on a unit n pole placed at that point. So this is a unit n pole. It is placed at that point. Is just we are making as an assumption. Practically the force is exists between two poles only, but only one n pole at location P, one n pole we are placing. So for example, it is a M at M location, so we are placing as a south pole. Right? So whatever the force is existing, so some cases instead of north we can place as a north also. South of instead of south we can place as a north also. So whatever the force is existent, so that is delivered by means of the Coulomb's law. So according to Coulomb's law, so F is equal to M1 M2 by 4 pi mu naught mu r d square. That is a basic formula we are using. So instead of that formula we can substitute, instead of M2 we are taking as a M1 because we are defined only with respect to the north pole only. N pole is nothing but it is with respect to the north pole only we are defined. So this is the formula we are getting. So the force already we know the unit as a Newton meter. Here the intensity can be measured in terms of Webers. That is the primary one. Next second one, magnetic flux. The total number of lines of a force in a magnetic field is called the magnetic flux. It is denoted by means of Greek letter. This is a pi. It is represented with the pi. Units is generally Webers. Units generally Webers. So simply, so we are taking one pole is placed here. The total number of lines of force in a magnetic field is called the magnetic flux. For example, a north pole will be placed here, so which is creates the number of lines of force. For example, it is a circular conductor, so the current is moving in upward direction. They are